Good morning, good evening. I've just realized it's on an angle. Let's fix it. I'm a bit tilted. There we go. Good morning, everybody. How are we all going on this fine summer stinking hot day here in Brisbane in Australia? Welcome to this week's live craft and chat where we're going to talk about all sorts of things. Firstly, my coloured lights aren't on in the background. Just before the stream, I got an email from my internet provider going, hey, guess what? There's going to be some unscheduled downtime with your internet. So I set up my phone as a backup, except I forgot to turn my lights on in the background first. So I'm going to fix that. It's going to do my head in. So I'm still here. I'm just fixing a thing because my phone works better as a hotspot if it's next to the window. I know, it's very weird. There we go. Okay. It's been a morning. Let me tell you. I thought I was all like, yeah, everything's cool, everything's great. Nope. I ran out of time. Like I just got sucked into doing other things, right? Like just other things. And then I've looked at the time and like, but I have all my beverages ready nice and early. So I've got coffee, I've got tea, I've got water. But what it was, and you know, let's just jump right into why I've gone off the rails. I've had a really weird week, right? Just really stressful and really weird, and my brain is just not coping, if that makes any sense. It was just too much all at once, and I just needed a project that was just super mindless. Like I tried starting the Winnie's blanket with just some yarn that I had in my stash, and it was just, I needed something that wasn't different every single round and that I had to concentrate on. So, I mean, what do we do? What do we do in those instances? We just start a new project, right? And I was sitting on the couch. So I started a project that happened to be with yarn sitting in my yarn box that was next to my chair. Excuse me, that I could just do in my head, that I could just go round and round and just cope with, right? And so, because we all need 19,000 blankets, I've just decided to start another granny square blanket, right? Using up all the leftover beach glass Karen cotton cakes from Abby's blanket, because this was just hanging out, taking up all the space in my craft room. Just using up, not in the craft room, in my craft box I've got next to my chair. I've got like, this room can be however, except for this section has to be tidy. But out in the lounge room, I've got one craft trolley, and that's got one IKEA Kallax box on top of it, and all like this and a pile of other stuff is in that. So I have like a pile of these left over from Abby's blanket, right? And I've just been sort of sitting there like, I need to do something with them. They feel amazing. Like, let's be honest, Karen cotton cakes feel lovely and they wash up beautifully and they feel fantastic in blankets. And I had what appeared to be 3 complete balls. So 1, 2, and 3. So 3 balls still in wrappers. Then there was another ball that I'd rewound back into a cake. It's a bit of a mess. And then as well as, there's none now because I've used them up, but there was like a couple of little balls that, you know, were just sort of sitting there, right? Plus also there was this swatch that I did, the start of a blanket that I was working on, which was about double the size it is now. But there was this as well. And they were all just sort of poked in the bag. I didn't weigh it. I didn't check anything. Of course not. Why would I? I just wanted to use up the scraps. I didn't actually have a plan. I just needed to crochet something mindlessly. But now I'm like, oh, this is actually coming up really cute. And now I need a plan. Except turns out when I did the math, lo and behold, like 700 grams is not enough for a blanket, right? It's just not. So I have 14 squares all done already, and they weigh, that's what I was doing this morning. So 8 squares was 100 grams, 14 was about 175. right? So I already had that, plus another 475 grams. So, you know, like 700 grams, 600, 700 grams of yarn available. I've done the math, all right? I've done the math. I need to go shopping, right? I've also double checked, and my local Spotlight apparently has some in stock now. One of the things I actually really like about these Karen cotton cakes is I actually don't do the batch number, like the thing, the batch number, color batch numbers, and so I'm not too worried about it. And because I also am not caring about the color changing. Like, see how it just randomly changes color, like whenever it wants. I don't care. I'm not caring about that. Like, this one came out really nice. Like, that was actually nearly perfect. But, you know, I don't care. I'm not caring. Right. Dye lot, color lot. Thank you, you guys. You knew that the batch number wasn't what I was looking for. Anyway, so I've done the math. And I need like another 3 balls to get 88 squares, which would make like a really nice size blanket, which is not actually that much, except this stuff is really expensive in Australia. It's $13 a ball when it's not on sale. So I need the 3 extra balls to get the extra squares that I want. Plus I'll need a couple of balls because I want to do the crochet join as you go. So it's basically going to stick an extra round on every square. So I'm thinking maybe another 2 or 3 balls. So I've got to work the math out on that. I'm going to sit down and actually crochet around 6 and weigh that, like, and get an idea to go from there. Like, it won't be perfect measurements or meterage, but it'll give me a 2 balls. If I buy 2 balls and find out I needed 6 or something, you know, it'd be closer to 6, whatever. Like, so I've got to sit down and do that. So that's something I'm going to do today as well. The other thing, I need everyone to like send me cute emojis in the chat. But as I've finished off each square, I've been weaving in the ends. This is a square I only just finished off, so it still needs its end woven in, but every other square is already got all its ends woven in. And I was reading this lady, and she said that before she crochets blankets together, she does something called dry blocking, which I'd never heard of, which is basically she just puts her squares over the blocking thing, and it just sort of holds them out enough, and then she'll do a proper wet block once it's all joined together. Has anyone ever heard of dry blocking before? I've always like at least given it a little spritz of water. I've never done it like totally dry, but I'm tempted to try it because these guys, hang on, I'll go to this camera angle. These guys here, they don't look terrible. Like, they don't look all misshapen or anything, but I would like to square them out a little bit more. So I'm thinking of testing out the dry blocking, because this blanket, like, while I've already got in mind somebody I can give it to, it's not like it doesn't need to be perfect. It's not like, you know, a 50th wedding anniversary gift or something like that where you want it to be schmick and pristine. Anyway, I'm so proud of myself for starting a project that wasn't even on my list. But the other thing that we need to do today is actually add the project to my Ravelry, because I just started it and I'm not doing anything. I did do another square. I now have officially 2 squares ready of my other blanket that I am planning on working on. And while these aren't too bad on my brain, these are easier right now. So I will have both. I'm going to do both because I'm actually thinking this one's going to be for me. This one's not. This one is. So, because I keep looking at the colors and going, geez, that's really pretty, you know. Knitspin Girl says, yeah, I've never heard of dry blocking, spraying with water, or poofing it with steam as a bare minimum. Yeah, me too. Like, always thought either just a bit of steam, bit of water, a full wet block. Like, I've never done a dry blocking. So we can test that out. Do I have my blocking board handy? Got my pins there. Don't do that, everybody. Okay, my blocking board is hard to get. Just give me a second. I just need a bit more space from these trolleys, and luckily I can have a little bit more space from the trolleys. Okay, so I figured we've got my blocking board out. Let's see if it does anything. Could be a little bit like resting your bobbins before you ply. Not that I ever do that either. Yeah, me either, honestly. One. I'm just having a guess. Yeah, or maybe one more. Get in the little doobie what's it holes. I've been crocheting for 70 years and I've never dry blocked anything. Shush. That's all I can say to that. All right, so that's about as stretched out as I'd like it to be. Of course, I pick the one that's not ready to go yet. It's got bloody ends on it. Alrighty. Do you think that's too stretched out? And do I need to add in an extra pin in the middle here? I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, poking the bear. I never block either. Okay, you guys are hilarious. One of the reasons why I bought this particular blocking board was that it meant that I could actually block multiple squares at once. I don't know if I've got enough this way. We'll find out. Oh, just look at that. But it appears I don't have quite enough. I must be missing one of those. Where is that dude? I thought I definitely had enough of them. Anyway. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll stack them up as well. Oh yeah, I'm missing 2 of those. So 8, 12, 14. Yeah, I thought I had 16 or 20 of these. There must be another little stash somewhere. Knowing me, they're probably somewhere very safe. But yes, absolutely. I will absolutely stack them as well. But that way I can actually stack them not too heavily, if that makes any sense. Because eventually there's going to be 88 of these bad boys. I don't know how I feel about this. It just doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it'll pull the corners out. That's about all it'll do. I feel like it needs something. I mean, it's just cotton. It's not wool. Because, like, look, they're just going to come off and they're all going to be misshapen. Oh, yeah, I could totally use DPNs to make up the numbers. I'm not sold on this process, to be honest. I'm not sold on the process at all. What do you guys think? Just realized I just went to push the keyboard back and nearly pushed my computer right off the back of the table. Go me. So yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to do any damage. It's just may not do anything. That's all. And usually when I stack block, because everything's a bit wet, I like to keep like space. Like that one I just pushed all the way down, but I like to keep it sort of like, you know, so there can be some airflow coming in. So like a centimetre between them, if at all possible. Oops, get back in your little peg hole. There we go. I mean, obviously I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if I like this idea, but you know, I'm going to keep doing it like a drongo. Between the three. That's between the three. That one looks like a little marquee flag. Yeah, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is. But does it, it is one square too wide. So, or one marker too wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think I counted to 10 and then went into the next one. Which square do you think looks better? Should I make this one wider or make this one less? Well, and Kelly, that's it. It is just temporary while I join stuff together and then I'll give it a proper blocking. I'm trying to save double blocking because I tend to double block everything. I tend to block my squares, then make it, and then block the end project. So I'm thinking if I can just do this dry blocking, basically I just put them on here while I'm making them and just leave them there. This could be where they get stored because it can also like stand on its side or whatever. I can get it up out of the way. So yeah, the wider one. Oh, Bianca thinks it's smaller, but Talia, Mel, and Leslie think the wider one. See, now I'm torn, you guys. All right, so, okay, in the chat, how many have we got here? 20. In the chat, put a W for wide and an S for small. And we'll have a quick vote on it. I mean, I could run a poll, but I don't want to. Bianca, I think you'll find that it's because of this. Here, let me put this one on, which doesn't have any crazy color pooling happening. Does that look less misshapen now that it's actually not color pooling? Like it doesn't have a weird color shaping going on? Because that was comparing apples to pineapples there for a second. Okay, so look, most people are going wide, so I'm going to go wider. Luckily, I've got the space to do it on this board, which it was pretty, like everyone sold the much smaller boards, but finding these bigger boards was a bit more awkward. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hang on a second. I got a feeling I made it 11 one way and 10 the other. I'm just checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so they are 11 and 11. So I'm counting the holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think it's like I was nearly destined to make them 11 by 11 because it turned out that I'd done them all 11 long but only 10 wide. So, yeah. What's the bottom left? Is that one wider? No? I'm double checking, but it's the same. No, they're all 11 by 11s. And I could add some DPNs. Now I'm paranoid, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so what size DPNs do you reckon we're going to need for this job? Ah, have you all seen how I filled out my cases now that they arrived? Maybe not. Quick yarn. You just go over there so I've got space to roll around, little dude. I've got one case, 2 cases, and 3 cases. Yeah, it's a trick of the eye. And it's actually a thing like I learnt when I was learning some graphics designs basics that and also don't forget that sometimes these color bits in the middle will throw your eye out as well, because you see the shaping, like there's a darker brown here, so it looks like it's being stretched in one direction, which is why I think that one looked so off. Now, I need DPNs that are about, what do we need? About 3 mil DPNs, I'd say. Um, a bit smaller than those ones. There we go. Alrighty. And then we can have like definitely put the tall side on first. There we go. Surely there's got to be another 2 of these around somewhere. Like it would make sense, right? Yeah, but no, they're all the exact same measurements. It's just... I still don't know how I feel about this, but we're going to do it. We're going to test it out. One thing I'll say is I actually stored, I didn't think of it as blocking, but I stored some squares for another project. Oh, I moved it over and it's even Steven. Oh, there you go. Maybe it was like an angle thing. I stored some squares for a project. Like it wasn't an intentional thing. And they actually were a lot easier to add on. And I never considered it blocking because I didn't wet it first or steam it. I just was just like, oh yeah, they're just stored there. But we could store quite a few here, right? Because, you know. And if it just makes it a little bit easier to join them together without having to wet block them all first, they're just going to sit in a stack while I crochet the rest of them. They may as well be doing something, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No loss. Other than this amount of time that it's taken for us to get them all on the blocking pins. And I'm perplexed. Like where's my extra pins? Like what happens if I needed 6 for each one or something? I was doing hexagonals or something. I could only do 2. So I need to source my hands onto some, actually that needs its ends woven in. Alrighty. You can come over here. Where's your little stand? I don't know where it is. It's around. There is a little stand for a little piece of wood that you can, oh, I know where it is. It's right here. It's right here holding batteries. Okay, and then we just put it on this little piece of wood. There we go. That can just stand up out of the way. Take up less space. It'll be a bit stabby if we get too close to it, so let's not get close to it. Kelly says here, I know you're leaving spaces between them in the stacks, but since you aren't wetting them, you don't need to space them. I 100% agree with you. It was an automatic habit. And as I get more, because I want to make 88 squares, right? As I get more, I'm totally going to like squish them down. Okay, so last week, these arrived in the afternoon, okay? So I felt really, what's the word? I mean, it was ridiculous. It felt like a totally ridiculous purchase buying all 3. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't really need all 3. Oh my God. Turns out I did, right? Turns out purchasing Chantel actually made a good decision for a change, instead of future Chantel getting upset at past Chantel for wasting money, right? So you're crafting porcupines. So each one holds different stuff. So this one here, which looks to be the smallest, is holding all of my little interchangeables that didn't have homes. Now, I was just purchasing it really just for my carbons, because I've been slowly filling them out, because I just want the 4.5 and the 5 now, and then I think I'll be happy with the carbons. But I realized that my very old Knit Pro set, like I bought it before it was Knit Pro, like it had another name. These are my Harmony Woods. They're not Symphony Woods, they're Harmony Woods. The case that I had all of these guys in, which is my very first knitting needles before I went over to ChiaoGoo's, it's this plastic pouch that was really, you know, the clear plastic that as it ages, it goes yellow and gross. Anyway, it was that. So I'd put these in and I'm like, oh, they look so cute and they're so lonely. And there's a pouch at the back here for all your cables and your bits and bobs. But I also just added in a Fibrific Notions bag, just because my clear pouch, like I had a Knit Picks, there we go. Knit Picks options. This was originally, I bought these back when Knit Picks owned the knitting needles. So I had like every set of knitting needles came with like, you know, end caps, and it wasn't just 1 or 2 sets, every single cable, like there's a lot, right? So I decided, you know what, I've got all this space. Let's see if I can, you know, move around. So the big fat ones I've had to put on the other side because they needed the bigger elastic. But I've got gaps. I've got some gaps I could fill. I think at the end of the day, I'll probably add a couple more carbons and then move these guys around. I tried the Knit Picks. They many years ago, they brought out like the plastic ones. So I gave them a try in the 4mm. Not my favorite, but also not my least favorite. So I kept them. I didn't ditch them. I bought a lot of my extra Knit Picks stuff, or Knit Pro now, but it was Knit Picks back in the day, including all of these little 4-inch ones, from a seller on eBay who was shipping them out from the UK about 10 years ago. And it could be even longer than that. I'd have to check. But anyway, I got massive deals. I've gotten way cheaper from like a lady in the UK who didn't get any special deals on postage than anywhere I could buy them in Australia. So that's what I've done with this one, and I'm super happy. I want to grab an extra couple of cables because I don't want to have to go digging into my Mindful set every time I need a cable. So this is the Mindful set, which I bought as a set. I do have 4 mils in a project, and I do have 3.25 mils in a project because I've added in, there's actually, there might be an extra project floating around. I've added in some extras there as well because they didn't come with the 3.25 or a 3.75. So I added those. And you know, I've got cables and stuff in there, and I have added some extras over into here, but there's still a couple more that I want to get because I want to have it like in a situation where I can just either take this or take this. I don't want to have to take both. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that. Let's have a look here. I sold my Knit Picks kit. I couldn't get past using them for about 10 minutes before going black and switching to ChiaoGoo's. I felt that way with the Addi Clicks. I actually found there was one tip and cable missing from when I sold my set. I found it when I was like I'd put it in with the rest of my Knit Pros, and when I was clearing out that case I found that. So there's that, plus this one here, which is the extra long one, is for DPNs. So I've moved, unfortunately, I've had to split some of my little sets up because I wanted to keep all these guys together, and I wanted to keep, like, these are my cheapy ones that I picked up from secondhand stores, and these are my randos. So, you know, I've got like, and then, you know, my Knit Pros, and then I've just popped in like, that's a Tunisian hook, cable needles, that's a tartan rug weaver, there's another cable needle there. These are just all the random DPNs, right? And so there's a couple like, where's the extra 2 from this set? No idea. You know, where's the other ones? Like, these are 2 different sizes sitting here. No idea. So you know, over the years, I kind of just threw all my DPNs into like the bottom of a tray and hoped that when I went to go make something, I'd be fine. Wasn't always the case. In saying that, I do still have my, they're out in the laundry, but I do have my ChowGoo DPN set. So that tends to be my go-to, except I love these guys so much. The what are they called? Collage square needles. I really love the collage square needles. So I don't know if I'll be able to get any more of those, but I love them and I wanted to give them a safe home. So that's that. Now this is the one that I'm going to need help with, you guys, because I've definitely set this up wrong. And I don't know what the best way to do it is. And so I'm just like, I'm a bit embarrassed to open it up. All right. I had a lot more fixed circulars floating around than I anticipated. And so, yeah, they're just kind of like spaced ish is 2-ish to 3-ish, 4-ish, giant-ish, you know. And these are my Addi Clicks interchangeable. So I've kept them connected with the cable, but like they're really easy to like, you know, put your cable on, right? The problem comes when you're knitting and you've got to bring every piece of yarn over this lip that it all caught on. And some people are like, I don't have a problem with it. And I'm like, that is cool for you. I have a total problem with it. So I sold my Addi Click set, but without this tip. Like the lady knew, like when I sold it, I'm like, it's missing a cable and it's missing a set of tips, but I gave it such a deal, she didn't care. But yeah, it's just like everything's in there, but I don't know if I'm putting these in the right way. Like, do they go tips down and cables up like this one? Sorry, like this one here, or do they go tips up, cables down? I don't know. Like, what is the way? What is the way? I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this because of the sheer number of them. It turns out I have. I didn't realize I had this many. Like, and I know somewhere is a huge collection of 9-inch DPN, 9-inch fixed circulars, and they're not all here. Like, I know that right now. There's like a stash. No, there's no sizes, but I can work with that. I got no problems there. And they don't put the sizes on it because different people are going to fill it with different stuff. So, you know, if you're not a lacewear knitter and it's like 1.5, 1.25s or 1.75s and 2s, you've got all this stuff you're not going to use. I don't mind about that. I've got fabric pens. I can just write on it, you know, and even steam it off if I don't need the number there anymore. So that doesn't bother me about there not being any numbers, but I don't want to go in and do anything about adding numbers until I've fixed this, you know, because maybe it's just a case of I've just got too many for the case, right? I don't know. So any tips, any feedback on how to do this better, I'd greatly appreciate. So, but in the meantime, they are all together. The zip does close. I've got to squeeze it close there. The zip does close. They are all together, and I was able to divide everything out. And I love having all the sets. And I was so tempted to go with the suede just because it looked classier, because it does. It definitely looks classier. But this just really sang to me. And so I'm so glad that I just stuck with it and went with these. So yeah, I'm just like, look, there's a little kitty playing with the ball. Like, and there's no milk in her coffee there, but I can forgive that. Here we go. Bex says, I reckon if you labeled the pockets with the sizes and then poke the needles in, that would stop them flapping around and poking things or getting caught. Maybe. Okay, that's the big one. The passion fabric makes me happy. So you think sort of going in and poking them tips down, is that what you're thinking? I mean, because that does stop them from flapping around. You are quite right there. And yeah, definitely. But I don't want to label the pockets just yet until I'm a bit more happy. But once I am, I will go through and put in, you know, the different sizes. So yeah, but I'm not happy yet. So just close it up and put it aside. Alrighty, now points into the pocket. All right, yep. All right, I'll have a play with that, and we'll look at that. Now the other thing that I've been working on this week, I'm just gonna drink some of my coffee here. I didn't put the lid on it. Now it's cold. It actually wasn't super cold, which is nice. Beck says even sideways-ish if they are longer needles. Oh, hang on. What do you mean? Like, because, you know, we were looking at that. So you mean like put them in and kind of tilt it off to the side like that? Oh yeah, I see. And then we could alternate that. I do, but the thing is I do have multiple needles per pocket in some of the pockets. So, yeah. I don't like, Bianca's saying I keep my ChiaoGoo fixed circulars in the cases they came in. It's easy for me to see and they're kind of tidy. They are, but I don't actually like to keep my needles and tools in plastic. So that's an issue for me, but that's just a personal thing. There's no reason for it as such. They should be safe, especially in their own packaging. But I've always, I don't know, for me in plastic always seems to degrade and then I end up losing things. So yeah. All right, Beck, I am inspired. I will have a go at that later. Now, something I do want to show you while we're at table down here is my Munakati. Like, I was really happy and now I'm not, okay? But I'm going to show you why I'm not. I made a judgment, like an error of judgment, right? I finished a ball of yarn and then jumped in and just started using, there was a ball that I'd unwound from the last cardigan. I didn't steam it. I didn't do anything to it. I just started working with it. I didn't even think about it. And it wasn't until I was holding the back and the front together and I'm like, what is off with this? Like, it just feels differently. It doesn't feel as neat. Like, look, so neat, less neat. You may not be able to see it as clearly as I can, but it just felt like not awesome. And then I realized it's because of the yarn. Like, look at the back and the back. Like, that's, I'll just bring that under the camera a bit better. Like, that back versus this back, like, I'll put it straight. You can just see the difference in the tension. So I was just like, oh, for crying out loud. You know, for crying out loud. Really? Am I going to have to redo the whole section? And the answer is yes. Yes, I am. I'm going to have to redo that whole section because I'm not happy with it. So when I started the other side, because I am up to the other side, I was just like, no, I'm going to judge it, right? I'll judge it because it could just be because it's different. But no, look at that. Like, it's just as nice. It's just as nice, you know? And so, because I grabbed a fresh ball. I grabbed a fresh ball for the other side. And all the stitches are sitting nicely. And Leanne's asking if it'll spring back once it's washed. Look, it could do, but it also could just make extra baggy stitches because the wiggliness, and because I'm Tunisian crocheting it rather than say knitting it where I pull the tension really tight, it is just, it's very different and it could end up being quite a lot baggier. And for an example, here we go. Let me just line this up properly. It's the same number of rows. So, because I counted the rows and I matched, like, so that's the same number of rows. And look how much longer it is on the front than it is on the back. That's the difference. So, I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned. Because I counted and recounted and recounted because I was so like, that can't be right. That can't be right. Which is why there's markers every 10 stitches. Yeah. So I think that I'm going to pull that back. And it's like, look, it's surprisingly quick to do this section. It's like just a couple of days, like of me just working at night just to do this section. So it won't be too bad. But what'll happen is if I don't do it, and then one side is like, I'm going to be really upset about it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll pull this back. What's perplexing is I've joined like the yarn join for this section is like somewhere else. So and this is what got frustrating, right? Is it seemed to be fine for ages. And I think it was because I was working from the other end of the ball and then it changed. So I think what had happened is I was working from the other end of the ball and then got up to the bit that had been used. And so it's fine, not fine. So yeah, that's right. It had been frogged from like when I first started making that knitted cardigan, which I really love and I really do want to give it another try. But I just couldn't make it work. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to pull it back to say, like, it looks like it starts getting fine here, but I'm going to pull it back to like there and join, because that row looks beautiful. Join on there and then just go forward with the standard knitting. Well, Bianca, I thought the same thing, which is why I decided to crochet over here, like to do this section before I made a decision. And it's coming out like the top half, not like the bottom half. And I did this after that. So, because I thought, I thought it was a stress thing as well, because that happens. It's a real thing when we're crafting. Our tension changes depending on our moods. But that's why I tested this bit out first. And the second I started, like I got like enough to see, I was just like, I'll get stuffed. Like, oh, for crying out loud. So I don't have to pull it all the way back, which is something. But I do need to pull it back to about here. And the other thing was, like, what really stood out for me was just how nice and neat this honeycomb is. And then look at this honeycomb. It just looked so off. Like, I pulled it out and redid it because I figured I'd done it wrong. But it's just the difference in the tension, like just the difference in the yarn. So, note to self, if I'm going to reuse yarn, it needs a wash and it needs a steam or a drying with a little bit. And this is the thing, you don't want to put too much weight on it because it'll change things after you do stuff. But if I'm going to reuse it, I'm going to need to get rid of and because I thought, that's not too much wiggle. Like, I've used yarn with more wiggle than that, but I've used all of the yarn had more wiggle, not just a section of the yarn. So frogging is where we're at. So I'm very disappointed. So we're going to get the ball winder out today and we're going to frog this back. Let's do it right now before I change my mind. So where are we going to frog back to? Let me put a marker in. I think about back to here. It's a little bit of overkill because this section looks okay, but I'd rather go back a little bit further just in case. Do I have a stitch marker? Yes, I do. My wiggly sheeps. I love my wiggly sheeps. All right, what did I say? So here, about another inch back. I'm going to put the stitch marker through these 2 stitches so they can't be pulled out. Grab out the old bally winder. Wah, wah. Ball winding your frogging is so much better, I think, in my opinion, than just ripping it out. Yeah, if we're going to learn the lesson, let's learn it all. Absolutely. I'm not sure how I'm going to, which method of reblocking that yarn I'm going to use yet. So that can be a lesson for another day. Leanne says, oh my God, we're now sitting at 38 degrees here. Stuart got inside outside temperature gauge for Christmas. Let me just. I'm not going to go outside, and I'm not going to go and grab my phone because it's doing stuff. But let me just check what my temperature is here. Because my temperature gauge here is telling me it's 26 degrees inside. Let me just look. Queensland. I can't. Oh, I'm so used to. Bianca says it's 33 outside. There you go, Bianca. I'm trusting you. I'm not too far away from you. We've got similar temps. And what's the feels like, Bianca? So that's the temperature, but what's the feels like temperature? Sorry, I'm just trying to. I'm so glad I didn't weave this end in. It was like I knew that I wasn't happy. I knew I wasn't happy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got ridiculous. Leanne, I would be double checking. They've got extra water. My pets are inside pets, and they're still going through so much. Oh, it feels like 39. Oh, that's cool. That's great. Yeah. No, it's awful. All right. Yeah, sorry, the desk will shake just a little while I ball wind, and the cameras are on the desk. They're all attached, so bear with while we get this done, and then I'll get the ball winder off the table. Let me just move that stitch marker aside. Bring this guy over. You know, if you're going to have to put up with it shaking, at least you should be able to see it happening. Yeah, heaps of water stations for them and the sheep. Oh, the sheep as well. Yeah. They're all going to need extra water over this time. Beck says, feels like standing in front of my fan is a go. Look, I've got my fan on, but just on low, just so it's not too heavy noise in the microphone. But also we've had the air cons on and pumping into this room all morning, so this room's actually really quite nice right now. Like the temperature gauge back there says 26 degrees. I mean, I could have grabbed the electric ball winder, but this was just right here. I mean, the electric ball winder is just right there, but I would have had to grab its battery pack out of the drawer and blah, 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 blah. Complaining, any excuse, whatever. This just feels like I'm just ripping out a lot of work. But it needs to come out. It's no good. But in work that is not no good, over here behind me, I have my Jethro sweater. And while I have not marked it as completed on Ravelry yet, all the stitching is completed. It just needs blocking, and like it needs a proper good blocking, and the buttons added. But it's wearable. And I will put it on for you in this ridiculous temperature. All right, I'm actually just going to end off there. So I need scissors. All right. That's enough for me. That's enough of an end there to weave in and get that going. But there we go. These yarns will be used for something else. I'll probably skein them off, give them a wash, and let them dry. Not today, although they dry real fast today out there in that oven. Get in the drawer. All right. So that's where I'm up to. So that's it. So I'm up to, now I've finished this side and then go back and do the other side. Have you calculated how much of each color you used on the Jethro? No, I haven't actually. The yellow is a bit more, I can, I can double check. The bags are just over here of the unused yarn, so I can just see how many of those. But I believe I used about a 50-gram ball of each of the colors, except for the gray, which I did use the full 10 pack and with just the barest minimum of leftovers. So let me just put this away. You can go back into the yarn. But no, I haven't worked out each individual color yet. So that can go down there. I'm just trying to keep things out of the ways of my wheels. So let us go on Jethro. Sleeves knitted. All ends are in. I do notice that some of the little ends on the body poke out every now and again. I'm not too worried about that. I'm like, do it really well. It's so hot. Okay. Temporarily, you guys. We do it for you. So let me just. So right now, like the button band is crept up, but it will block out. Look, it will block out much better, but it's not blocked. So it's going to be just this. I'll just push my chair out of the way here. It's going to be a really great length. Once it's blocked out, it'll be like that perfect length. And the sleeves are not so tight that I can't pull them up, because I do pull sleeves up. It's just what I do. I'm not like, some people pull their sleeves over their hands. I'm not that person usually. So having them sit perfectly on my wrist like this is just so nice. But being able to push them up and then be stretchy enough for that too, doubly good. So that's where we're at. Oh, and my daughter, she likes it too. We value your sacrifice. And Becknick says, there you go, Chantel, your jumper has been given my youngest's approval. Oh my gosh, she said that's the prettiest jumper ever. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Knitspin Girl says, that's turned out great. I'm not a huge fan of granny squares, but I really like that cardie. I'm not a huge fan of wearing granny squares. I think they make great fun blankets, but I see a lot of like granny square fashion and I'm just like, ugh, I roll the hardest, like to the point where I pull muscle in my eye. I'm in love with this sweater. I cannot wait till it's not feels like 39 degrees so I can actually wear it. I'm like, dudes, I'm gonna wear it with like my Star Trek Titan shirt with like leggings and socks. I've already got outfits planned, but I do need to block it because I'm not, like some people are happy to have that. I would like it to square out. I would like it, and I don't think it's going to take that much to do it. And the sleeves I'm pretty happy with, but I really do want to block these out and then add the buttons. I don't know how often I'll actually do the buttons up. I'm not I like open cardigans, but when it's real cold, I like the options, right? Same with hoodies. Like I like a zip up hoodie because I like the options. All right, I need some water after that. I'm like, the sweater is heavy and it is cozy and it's like wearing a blanket, which today here is not ideal. Bobby Gravett, welcome to the chat. It is on Ravelry. It is called the Jethro cardigan. Can one of the mods throw a link to the Jethro in the chat? I don't think I've put it in my description for today. But yeah, it's called the Jethro cardigan. It is amazing. The instructions are fantastic. The join from the knitting to the crochet is beautiful. Because that was something I was worried about, but it is awesome. Sally says, I'm really tempted to make one, but all in one color. That is so nice. That is so nice. I love that idea as well. I think that would look absolutely stunning. But what I would say is if you have a favorite color that you just want a little bit of, doing the edges and the little, all these little edge bits in a different color just framed everything so beautifully. So even if you've just got like one favorite color and you did it all, even if it's just a shade difference, I think it could look gorgeous. Not that I don't think one color will not look gorgeous. I think that will look, I think it's the sweater. I think it doesn't matter what you do. It's going to look amazing. Every photo of somebody's sweater that I saw, because tons of people have made them, then yeah, the yellow trim worked really well. Yeah, and I was tossing up between the yellow and the pink, and I'm glad I went with the yellow. Sally, I'm all about the grey. Sally's like deep red or a grey. I'm all about the grey. Bring on the grey. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach over and grab the leftover yarn, because we all know that Chantel didn't, you know, halfway do this one. I bought my yarn in the 10 pack, so I got better pricing on the yarn. Except I did not need anywhere near that at all. Where's the project bag? So I'm just having a look in the project bag itself just to see what's left in here. And it's just like the ends of the grey. That's what's left of the grey out of a 10 pack of grey. And is this is the ends of the other colours? Like this is like what was left over out of the balls of the other colours. I'm just double checking that there's not, I could have sworn there might have been a bit more. Maybe any larger bits I sort of rolled them back up, but that was kind of what was left over of a ball of the other colours. The yellow I used more of because it went on as the trim. So they were the, oh, I'm like, oh yeah, looking at these, no, here they are. These are the leftovers. So that was the leftover of the grey out of a 10 pack. And then these were the leftovers of the other colours. I think. So there you go, Bobby. Lots of people, like there's my Kelly's popped up my what I've done for mine. So, and then Sal's popped you straight through to the project where you can pick up your pattern. Worth every cent, honestly, worth every cent buying it. Some patterns I don't feel that way about. Some patterns I feel a bit gypped. I did not feel gypped for this one. So, all right, let's have a look. So, how much of this grey is left? Boom, boom, boom. And if you don't have a set of scales handy in your crafting world, you need to buy some scales. If you want a link to the scales that I use, which I absolutely love, I've got like a pile of set of these. Let me know and we'll get that in the chat as well. But I love these scales. It's 17. So I've got about half a ball left there. So that, because I use 50-gram balls, so it's about half a ball left of the grey. I'm not going to bother weighing the others. Like, that is so not worth the effort. Oh, Bobby's bought the pattern. Go, Bobby. We have over on the Fiberific Discord page, there was a couple of us who made it. So if you want to go and check out what some of the instructions. So there was Jancy put a link to a video that showed us how to join our colours, which was a total game changer for me. It's changed how I do everything when it comes to crochet colour changing. Because I don't like to I don't crochet just over the end, so I've always woven them all in at the end. This was a totally fresh way on how to weave it, like not how to weave, but how to change colors and work over the, like work with the tails as well as the, go and watch the video, but it's linked in the Discord, so someone can throw in the Discord if Bobby wants to go and check that out too. I need space. All right, let's grab some yarn. Alrighty, let's have a look here. So this colorway 246, there's, I don't have, I gave some of the yarn away, which, you know, let me go over to Ravelry. No, that's not the right one. Here we go. My stash. Did I put all of these in? No, I did not. So I don't know, like, I think I gave somebody a couple of balls of this one. So yeah, but I'll check. I'll go and have a look. I'll grab one of the other guys. It just happened to be the one on the top, all right? Oh, look, there's another sort of half a ball of the grey that was just resting on the grey bag. Josephine says that she got 2 balls of the coastal blue. I think that's the coastal blue. All right, well, here's an indication. So this is goldenrod. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. This was also used as the edging. So this one used more than the others. Maybe a ball, maybe a whole ball. So yeah. So I'm just like, are we screen sharing and updating the colors? Is that what we're doing here? Like updating the yarn in my project. Let me look here. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bo. Oh, yes, we are. Bianca said that's what we're doing. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you guys know what I'm doing. Where is my Jethro? Christmas sock. I can't type apparently. Jethro. There it is. Okay. Alrighty. Let me. Oh yeah, because it's really deceptive. It says I use 10 skeins. Oh dear. All right. Well, don't we have like a thing here? We can. All right. I'm gonna go to my screen share. Boom. Hello, screen share. Okay, we're gonna jump over here. We're going to edit the project. Okay, so let's start with the golden tip, which is this one here. And we did not use 10 skeins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full. So let me look. So we've used 1, 2, 2 point. I don't know. There's still 36 grams of that 50-gram ball. So let's go 2.5, right? So 2.5 of the golden tip. Now, Kelly, I may have added this yarn directly to this project and not to my stash first. So I'm going to have to go in and then add all this yarn to my stash, which I don't do that way anymore because I've learnt, but you know, whoops. All right. So we've got that one. So poke that there. All right, so Josephine says I gave her 2 balls of the coastal blue, which I think is what this one is, which we'll find out. So which one are you? 8816. Coastal Bluff. All right, so Josephine got 2 balls. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I only used 1 ball of the Coastal Bluff. All right. If it's a really small amount, you can just do. I'm not going to worry about that. When I go to enter it back in, I'll weigh them out and double check it. But I think for this, it's just a rough guideline, because like the reality is, I probably would have used a bit more if I had have remembered to do that second row of the yellow, or the third row of the yellow. Game Widow says I may have accidentally purchased another loom. Oh no. All right, let's jump over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 balls of this color. So which one's this? 8812. Yeah, because this was a thing. They weren't even either. And that was my bad. I could have evened it out, but I didn't. I just used whatever. Because I was like, oh, I don't have any yarn restrictions. I could use whatever I want. I've got 10 balls of each color. I don't know why during that I sound like I was drunk, but apparently I may as well have been. 8812 clear skies. I used 2 balls. All right. I hired a Kiwi 3, has 3 grooves on the wheel, 3 more on the flyer. I know nothing about ratios. When it comes to, I don't know much about the Kiwi. They should be able to tell you which each ratio is, but usually the smaller the whirl on the smaller the whirl, the faster it goes, is usually what it comes down to. Huon Pine. This is my favorite of the colors. It's like a tealy green. Oh, there's a collapse over there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I use 2 of that as well. What's your number? What's your number, Huon Pine? 8803. So it's looking like I use 2 balls of each color on average. Hang on, 8803. Here it is. 2. Boom. I mean, that seems like a much more manageable amount of yarn for a sweater than 10 balls of 7 colors. I found another pack section of colors that I haven't used. I had a little zippy with some extra bits to weigh up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8813. It's this exciting internet. All the excitement. 8813 I used 3 of. Although I actually think I made a beanie for my brother using some of this color. I'll find out. I'm like, what have I got in here? Like, I've just pulled out like the pouch of what's left in the pouch, because there's a bit of everything in here. So, is this? So that's 12 grams. So it's 2.75 of the 8813. I'm going to poke that in there. Okay. And then the last one. We've got the pink, which, I mean, am I going to bother weighing this? Like, look at this. This is like let's weigh it. Let's just see what it gives us. 2 grams. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I used 2 balls of the fire tail. Hello, May. 8817. Okay. And then the grey, which is, I don't know what color number the grey is, but we had the 25 grams that was over there, plus another 16. So that's like 40 grams, and the balls are 50. So we could probably drop that down to 9.1 or something. Where's the grey? All right, we've got golden tip is done. We've got shoreline is done. Although there's another, we have another ball of shoreline here. Shoreline is another 12 grams. So that's a quarter of a ball. So Shoreline came out to 2.5 balls. Clear Skies is this one. We've got some more here. I'm just going to weigh that. That's 10 grams. So Clear Skies was a 1 point. So 10 grams of a 50 gram ball is a fifth, so 1.2. That one goes there. Huon, is that worth weighing? 7 grams. And then the yellow, I'm actually made the swatch with that. So that could actually, well, that's a quarter of a ball in the swatch. All right. So 2.25. Alrighty. Oh no. Oh, good. It saved everything at least. Oh my goodness. I nearly had a heart attack. I hit the wrong thing. I'm like, no, don't make me go back and do it all. All right, let me have a look here. I just needed to check the grey. The Alpine Grey we used 9 point. I'm going to say 9.5. So yeah, 9.5. That's just a bit of a rough guesstimate. I mean, did I fix it? Yeah, all right. Okay, so that's where we're at with those. So that is updated to the actual yarn used in the project. Where is the, I'm very delicately just poking it all back in this bag here. Where's those little balls of grey? The rest, Scrappy Doo land, go in the bin. All right, we're done. It's done. We updated that project. It's still technically a whip because I haven't blocked it or added the buttons to it yet. How do we all feel about that? Let me know in the chat while I drink some of my hopefully still hot tea. Hello, tea. Yes, it's still hot. So while I haven't technically gotten sick, I've had days where I felt worse than others. And so I'm like just trying to just keep the tea flowing to coat the throat. Okay, so that project is done. I mean, while we're in, what am I doing? Why am I putting that cup all the way over there? Put that one all the way over there. This one can go here. We need to put this yarn away. But we're not going to right now. We're just going to create the leaning tower of Pisa off to the side and just hope for the best, right? Like that's what we do, isn't it? Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, look, leaning tower of Pisa. All right, now the other thing I want to do is add this granny square thing into Ravelry, right? I just need to double check something here. Yeah. So you guys could still hear and everything, I'm assuming. So the Granny Square blanket project, we'll jump back over to screen share, is like seriously, I want to do it and I want to finish it and I'm enjoying doing it. It's not what I'd planned to be doing for January. I had been planning to work on some other projects, but I'm going to add it in and I'm going to make it a real project. So for me, once it's in Ravelry, it's real. I do some testing and then once I'm happy, then I add it to Ravelry because, you know, otherwise I end up with like, you know, the issue of why did you get rid of that one? I'm like, because I couldn't make it work. And then there's explanations. And anyway, okay, so projects, I want to add a new project. So I'm going into projects here, add a project. It is crochet. It is, I'm going to call it my beach glass granny throw. I don't know. I did not use a pattern because I'm just granny squares, dude. It's not a legit pattern. All right, now for hook, I'm using a 5mm hook. I have my hook size down here. I don't have a date that I want it finished by. I have an approximate size that I'd like it to be. So I am going to add that in here, which is 8 by 11 squares, which will be approximately 120 by, oops, I can do times here. 120 by about 180. Let's go 170. Then if it's a little bit bigger, I'm happier, okay? Then here, pattern category, it is home, it is a blanket, it's a throw. And then here for adding a yarn, I believe I've added my yarn to the stash, at least, maybe, I don't know. Like, I think I did. So Caron Cakes. Please tell me I did. Caron Cotton Cakes. How many? So what have we got here? I have, so it's 5. So 6.5, I think. I think I wrote, like, I'm just going to jump back into Ravelry and just check how many I had in my stash. Ravelry, my stash, Caron. It's like the only Caron yarn I have. 5.75. Well, there we go. I'll just go with that. Alrighty. And then I can always add more yarn when I go shopping. I can add that in. Using scraps from Abby's waffle blanket, we'll need to go shopping for more. So we're doing 5 rounds of granny square. Plan on join as you go, adding 6th round. Okay. There we go. Saved. Boom. Done. No picture. I don't have a picture. I suppose I need a picture. I can't take a picture. Oh, yes, I can. Look, I've got another phone here. Camera. Camera. Oh, look, I've got Bomb on this other phone. So I can... Its battery's just about dead. $33.4 feels like 37.1. That's awful. Stop that. All right, camera. I have a photo. I'll add it later because I don't think those photos go to my Google Drive. They go somewhere else. Holly is in the house. Hello, Holly. All right, let's go back down to here. I got to weave in this end before I forget and feel like the worst person ever. Knitspin Girl says, if one of my project doesn't work out, I just delete the Ravelry and deny any knowledge of said project. I mean, I would love to do that. And I do it for some things. Some things I'm like get really far along with, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is total trash panda. I need to, you know, abort mission. Abort mission. But yeah, I've gotten a question before, like, hey, whatever happened to this project? I'm like, it died. It became no more. And I don't want to talk about it, please. What have I done there? let's just jerry-rig that into pinning it in place somewhere. I don't know why that's loose and baggy. Not for long. There we go. That's tacked in. Obviously, I'm such a pro. Let's just hide the mistakes. Let's not pull it back and fix the stitches so that they weren't baggy to start with. No, no, no. Let's not do that. Man, I've gotten really used to having sharp scissors, and these are just not it. This one here, I had to join a color on. I ran out of yarn towards the end. So I've got extra ends to just. Now these are being crocheted over, or crocheted with, I should say. It's probably the better way to describe it is crocheted with. So it's more just a case of I'm paranoid. I could probably just trim it off, but I'm just gonna just weave it back just one more time. I know the yarn's like, no, I don't need to be woven back one more time because I'm all good. I'm all good. I don't need it. I don't know why we're doing this, but okay, there we go. Trim that one back. All right, this is, they can go and die in a hole. Those scissors are going to the bin. I've had enough. I've decided. Oh, this one's got to be woven in properly. That's an end, and that one can be just trimmed back. Is fine. Kelly says, I frogged them from Rav. I've actually had someone comment and say how helpful a frog project page is. Yeah, so if it's something I've done, like if you go and check out my project page, there's some there that are definitely frogged back. But there's others where I kind of was like at the early stages where I just went no, and I just delete them. But there are others where I will just mark that they were frogged. So, I don't like giving up on a project is what it is. I really don't like giving up on a project. And so I feel like it's like nearly like a little bit of a failure if I do, which I know it's not. Like, you know, let's be honest here. It's nothing. It's a total non-issue. But my brain's just like, ha ha ha, you didn't finish that thing. Therefore, you get no dopamine. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things. So, but I went through my projects a couple of years ago and just marked a pile of them as frogged and deleted them, or deleted some, frogged some, just cleaned everything up. And I realized I've got this basket that's just full of stuff. I don't know if it's even in Ravelry, and I need to go through it and have a good look at it. So let's hang this guy up on the completed rack. I tell you what, that's actually a really nice feeling. Okay, yarn from another project. Here we go. I'm quite literally like, you know how like with my sweater, I'm just like, oh, I totally need to, you know, steam that before I'll use it, wash it, something. This one, I'm just literally unraveling it from this stitch. I absolutely love. I want to make a million projects in it, just not this one. I actually think I've got some beautiful yarn that will just be amazing in this stitch, and I just love it. So it's just like, you know, a row of granny trebles, then a row of 3 chains of single crochet so that you can stack. I really love stacking like this, like symmetrically, not staggered. I really like stacked. So that will be amazing. It was working out fine. It was just a problem that with this particular yarn, the color changes were so abrupt sometimes that the actual stacking method hid that, which was fantastic. But it was just going to use up too much yarn. I also made it probably a bit wider than I'd anticipated because I guessed it, but I will totally be doing this as a project in something. I just don't know what at this stage. So look, there's this little piece here. I'm not even going to start with it. We'll just keep that aside. It might be good for, you know, something else. Alrighty. Yeah, I actually think the yarn and the pattern worked in this, but I didn't have enough yarn for this at the time. And, you know, I probably could do it, but, and so I do think this color change yarn does work with it. But like, see down here where it changed from the blue to the white quite abruptly. That did bug me a little bit, especially with how like gentle everything else was. That kind of did mess with me a little bit. I know some people won't care, and that's cool, and I'm glad that you're a person that doesn't care about those sorts of things. I'm trying not to, like look at these. I'm trying to be the person who doesn't care when the color changes happen, all right? But yeah, it's oh, not ye old crochet, you're cool, you're cool. But yeah, so it's just different. I want to try it in a different yarn. So yeah, but this particular project, the goal is to just, you know, get over myself and just make the squares. It doesn't matter if they have weird shapes of discontinuity or whatever. And then just make a blanket. I was supposed to just use the scraps, but there's not enough scraps to make a blanket. You know, like nearly 6 balls is not quite enough. So I will be purchasing more yarn for this particular project. Everyone who knows me in the chat's laughing their little butts off, like, ha ha ha, like we didn't know that was going to happen. I am tempted because tonight is Caffeinated Crafters. I didn't mention that at the start of the stream. I was too busy freaking out about different things. But today is Caffeinated Crafters Day, and we do have Caffeinated Crafters right near a spotlight. So maybe I should pop in and try and grab a couple of balls and just, you know, have them there on the ready. So that, you know, when it comes time to keep going, I can keep going. Because I'm actually plowing through the yarn pretty quickly. There's a corner here. Yeah, I'm plowing through the yarn pretty fast. It is a really great project to calm my brain, which I didn't realize how much my brain needed calming until I sort of was in this really frazzled state and just picked up the yarn and the hook basically and just started doing it. It wasn't until I started relaxing that I realized how not relaxed I was. It's been a really, really big couple of weeks, just with some stress and, you know, not feeling my best and some other things have been happening. And then yesterday, just really nice things happening. Actually, I've just realized one thing I forgot to do when I was creating the project is I didn't put a start date on it. I should possibly put a start date on that. Let me just, I've still got it on screen here, so I'm actually just going to just click to edit, start date, day before yesterday. So not 15th or 14th. There we go. And I have very high happiness. Save. All right, there we go. I have a start date added. So yeah, so I just, and then yesterday I was just total meltdown last night, just like good stuff happening, just got crazy busy all of a sudden and just needed to just chill my brain. So I picked up this again and just instantly calming. So it was just a bizarre thing that I didn't realize happened. So, I mean, I knew I found craft relaxing. I just didn't realize to that extent. And so I'm just going to have zero guilt on making a project that was outside of what I was planning on doing. I've also made project decisions like we did today with the Municati, how we ripped that back and wound that. We've actually, like, while this is technically all the crochet we've done so far in today's live stream, we've actually done a lot of different things. So we had, we made the decision on the Municati about pulling back the front panel where the yarn was all janky. So we've done that. We have updated Ravelry project for the Jethro with all the yarns. I do need to go into Ravelry and add the rest of the yarns back in. So this is a lesson that I have learnt, and Kelly has been trying to teach it to me for so long, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And now I'm just like, okay, I'm on team add your stash. Now, I'm not going through and just sitting down and adding all my stash and adding 11 million photos and things like that. If I happen to have a photo, I'll add it. If I can grab some sort of imagery, I will. But I'm just going to be adding my yarn as I go to use it for now. Right now, as I buy the new yarn, I try to add that in as well. But with my existing yarn stash, I'll be adding the yarn to the stash and then adding stash to the project, so that if there's anything left over, it's automatically still in my stash and I don't have to mess around with it anymore. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But every now and again, there's a project like that one where I hadn't done that, and now I'm going to have to double add everything. Bianca says that's a fantastic idea. Yeah, look, it was the only way I could sort of get my brain around it without like dealing with my stash. So as I buy new things, I add them in, but as I use old things, I'll add them to the stash and then add them to the project. That way it's in the stash on Ravelry. So it is what it is. I need some more tea. I'm going to get to this corner. Actually, I'll finish this row, and then I'll have some more tea. The tea's right here. I could just reach out and get it. Yes. They are. And there's so many different ways to do grannies. I was doing my grannies slightly differently when I first did this. I was trying to sort of, you know, get into the square easy without having to do any slip stitching. And then I just realized, well, that just makes life harder. Allison says, my Ravelry stash is so out of date. I'm wondering if I should see if I can just delete all of the stash and start again. Let me have a look. I don't know if there is. I don't know if there's a way to delete the whole stash. Let me have a look. I'm just seeing if there's any settings here. There is an export button for your stash. That's cool. I don't know if there's a way to delete all of it, but you can just like hang on, let me just, on the stash homepage, yeah, you can see how here I'm just like, oh yeah, I've totally not added photos on most things. You can just click the 3 dots on each one and then just delete the stashed yarn. But I think you need to do it for each one. I don't see anything here that will let you do the whole lot at once. So doesn't mean there's not, just means that I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah. But having them like so that you don't have to actually go into them, I think, like if you know that yarn's gone, you could just 3-dot click it, hit delete this stashed yarn. So yeah. Or if you know you've used it up, you can even just be like click, move this yarn, and then you can move it to all used up or traded, sold, or gifted or whatever. So you could just move it as well. You don't have to actually delete it if you know you've used it in a project. But yeah, so that's an option. I'm just going to have some tea. Kelly says, yes, it's overwhelming to have to add your entire stash to Ravelry. Doing it in bits and bobs makes it manageable. Yeah, and I think that's how I'm going to do it. Francis says, I couldn't make any craft decisions this morning, so I grabbed a random bag of floof and started spinning. It's coming out nice. It's a red dyed 22 micron that my mum gave me ages ago. That sounds really nice. I was so excited this week. There was a spinning group that, according to their Facebook the community center that they meet at, according to that Facebook page, it was starting at 5:30, and I was so excited. And I waited weeks and weeks and weeks for them to come back after Christmas. I pulled my wheel out, I cleaned my wheel down, I picked some fluff, I tested everything, I got it all ready to go, got it in the car, got there, sat there, waited, went and spoke to somebody, and then I packed my stuff back in my car and I went home because apparently there was a typo on the post and they actually met at 10 a.m., not 5:30 p.m. And rather than just admit that they made a mistake, they actually went in and edited the post and then went, oh, that's so weird. The group's been there all day. They got there at 10 o'clock like they always do. And I'm just sort of sitting there thinking, I'm not the only one who saw the 5:30. I have friends that were going to come with me and they saw the 5:30 and they were going to come because it was after work. Like, I did not make it up. And I was so ticked off at how they did that. And I know that's not the club, that's the community center. The club's totally different. Like, you've got a club that uses a room in a community center. It's not the club that did that. It was the community center. And I was just like, wow, what a great way to treat people in your community that wanted to come and enjoy your community club facilities that you've been pushing and pushing and pushing in your Facebook group. Rather than going, oh, wow, so sorry, that was a typo here, for next time it'll be at this time. Like, let's not own our mistakes. Let's just gaslight people. Like, you totally saw that wrong. Like, wow. And that was something that really, really peeved me off a lot. It wasn't that it didn't happen. I mean, that was disappointing. But it was their reaction, like the actual community center's reaction to it, that really tipped me over the edge, like to the point where I'm like, you know what, I actually think I can be available sometimes at that time through the week, because it's going to be the middle of the day through a weekday. And while I don't think I'll be able to do it every week, I might be able to do it every now and again, but I'm like, do I even want to deal with that community center at all now? So yeah, I don't know. Am I just cutting off my nose to spite my face? Probably. Would I enjoy hanging out with some spinners and going old school for a while? Probably. But I'm just really disappointed in the community center doing I wish I had screenshotted to share it with my friends rather than doing the right thing, which was share the actual post. If I had a screenshot of it, I could have posted it. I'd be that person. I'd be like, oh, that's weird, because right here in this post, and put like a big red circle around it. Yesterday it said this time, or even this morning it said that, because I double checked it through the day. I had to work up some courage. I had to work up some courage to go, because it's not easy for me to go and hang out with a group of people where I don't know anybody. Knitspin Girl says, I avoided adding in my stash for years as it felt too overwhelming. Then COVID lockdown happened. It's mostly in now. I didn't bother with my oddballs or box of shame, the Muppet Roadkill box. Yeah, you don't want anyone knowing that you've got any of that. Like, that doesn't need to be on Ravelry. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a typo. That's exactly right. It was a total error, because they were how they worded it and everything. And then they didn't change how they worded it, so it just looks weird. Like, oh, the kids start at 4:30 p.m. to do their craft, and then from 10 a.m. onwards, the adults can... And you're just like, really? From 10 a.m. onwards after 4:30? That is cool. Yeah, it's disappointing. Absolutely. Susanna says, I've got a Nagi traditional for Christmas. And just this week, I got an Ashford Traveller Mark II. So now I'm the proud owner of 2 wheels. I'll be joining a group soon too. Awesome. Groups are fantastic. Spinning groups are so good. Like, they really are. They, like, or at least all the ones I've been to historically have been fantastic. Really open arms and welcoming, and really want to get you going, show you the pitfalls so you can avoid them. You'd be that person too. Susanna says, I'd be that person as well, just for argument's sake. They should have just been honest and apologized. Absolutely. Like if they had to just go, oh my goodness, so sorry, that was a miscommunication, or even just like, oh man, what a typo to make, just something. But no, they just went in and edited the original post, changed the time, didn't change any of the wording, so it so looks weird, and then tried to be all like, oh no, you missed it because it started at 10. See, look at the post. Like, yeah, okay. But yeah, it would have been easy to apologize. And then I wouldn't be sitting here on the internet complaining about them, and about their lack of integrity, because I think that kind of thing is a lack of integrity. So what else do they lie about, really? So yeah, disappointed. And it's like, it's a little community center. I don't expect, that they've got their own social media manager or anything like that. It's just a little community center. An apology would be totally appropriate. Knitspin Girl says, some spin groups are wonderful, others... A friend once described one group as being a couple of funerals away from being a really good group. Oh, that's... Well, mine was a bit hit and miss. Some were lovely and welcome. Others were cold and officious, made finding the energy and time hard to go. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the group. Some people can't admit when they're wrong. No, that's right. That's so weird. And it was like, I was disappointed, and I posted that I was disappointed because I was there, and it's like, I've got my hand. I don't know what I've done to my hand. All right. I don't know if you can still see it. It's nowhere near as bad as it was, but it still hurts. So in here, I have, last week it was swollen like this, right? So, and even still now, carrying like a full bottle of milk or something actually like pulls pain all through here, and it's like sharp pain that makes my hand just spasm, and it's been really sore, and I don't know what it is. I don't remember banging it. I mean, I probably did, but I don't remember banging it. And like now it's about the same as my other hand, which is good, but it's still tender. And so I had to lug around a Susie Pro, like it's not like it's a light wheel. Yeah, I know I broke Chantel. Yeah, you did. Susanna says, oh my God, Knitspin Girl, I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my food. Yeah, so glad I wasn't eating then, because I totally would have choked on my food. That's such the best description of some of the groups, all right? Harsh, but true. Harsh, but true. Oh, and that was the other thing I noticed, is when I was knitting, it would hurt even more. Crocheting doesn't seem to hurt it. Knitting does. So that's weird in itself. Just a difference in the action. Like I see my hands moving a lot more when I crochet than when I knit. So yeah, anyway, whatever. How many? Okay, I'm like, have I just done like 11 billion rounds on the same square? Like, what am I doing? Oh, and my decision for 5 rounds is just because it was like, oh, that's a good amount before it starts twisting and doing the weird janky things. There's no real thought process. I probably could have made bigger squares, and just made less of them for a blanket, but I like little blankets, little square blankets. They look cute. Francis says, I put up with a group like that, and then I found another group that was more me and never looked back. Yeah, like sometimes you just need to look around, and you might even be surprised at how many of these groups there are around, like I was actually shocked that this group was meeting like 5 minutes from my house. So I was just like, wait, what? Like, so it was just like, I didn't have to deal with traffic. I didn't have to deal with this one intersection that I really hate a lot. which I have to deal with for IKEA. And you know, like it was just like it ticked every box except for the hole it wasn't on at the time that I thought it was going to be on. And that time actually suits me better than any other options. So unfortunately, I may or may not be able to go at all. I mean, I could probably go once a month or something. Don't judge the group by the venue. I know. It's really hard because you're right, Gamer Widows. It was the venue that upset me. It wasn't the group. It was the venue. And the group had nothing to do with the venue's post. But like I replied to that initial post and no one, and other people commented and stuff as well. And no one came in from the group said, hey, no, we actually don't meet at that time. They did specify, like I went back and reread the comments someone wrote to me and they did put a time in it and I had missed that, but they didn't actually say that the time in the post was wrong. So I didn't, so I did miss something that the group had written, but the initial post from the community center was so wrong. And then when I went back and checked it, the group and the community post times are still different. Only by half an hour, but they're still different. Bianca says, speaking of painful crafting, I thought I might get a rubber thimble for my right index finger for when I push my ChiaoGoo lace tips. Someone on Reddit said they just stick a little bit of physio tape on their finger. I tried that and it works great. Yeah, you just need something just to stop the actual tip from, piercing your flesh. So, yeah, physio tape's great for that. But I do have a little thimble as well. I used it a lot when I was doing the squares for the fusion blanket that's still sitting there waiting to be pieced together. It's basically side-eyeing these granny squares. Like, if you get pieced together before me, I'm going to be really disappointed. But the thing is, they will, because all the ends are in, and that's the problem that I'm having with the fusion. Is I did it at a time where before I knew better. I mean, I did know better, okay? But I did it at a time where I didn't weave the ends in as I went. And it's a 4-ply crochet cotton. There's 2 ends for the blanket stitch and then another 2 ends for the lacy border. And I'm like, where the heck am I going to weave all these ends into? So I may do the thing I hate the most and actually knot some of them together. And then weave it in that way a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Productivity stream fodder. Absolutely. And we do have a productivity stream this week. Actually, now that you say that, there is a productivity stream on my Saturday, 10 a.m. So if you're in the US, it'll be Friday night. So maybe I could sit down and weave in some of those ends. Be probably more likely that I'm going to work on something else. Could you bring the fusion blanket to the craft group and have other people help me? So do you mean like caffeinated crafters? Kelly says for cotton, don't you need to knot at least once? I don't knot at all for anything ever. I don't like knots. Knots actually create, from hanging out with a lot of weavers, knots actually create a weak point, and you can actually tie a knot in yarn. Probably not this yarn, especially not with my hand the way it is. But if you tie a knot in your yarn, actually it's not going to work with this. This is really thick cotton. Do I have something less thick that I can prove my point with? Here's some acrylic. I don't know if it'll work, and my hand, but just tied a little knot. I don't know if you can see just a little knot, and you just snapped right at the knot. So whereas like here, can't snap it. Here, tie a knot in it, snaps at the knot. So creating a knot creates a weak point. And just as a reminder, everyone, my hand is not that strong at the moment. I couldn't even open my Yeti today. So, yeah. So that's why I don't like using knots in anything, because knots create a weak point. I will, and if there's knots in a yarn, I'll cut that knot out and weave in the ends. Kelly says, but cotton is so slippery to avoid it coming out. Knotting is suggested by many knitting pros. Yeah, look, I just actually poke it back in. I tend to leave cotton with long tails because you're right, it does get a bit slippery and it does work its way out. So I weave in a lot more with cotton than I do usually. Maybe not so much with this guy because I'm crocheting over it, like crocheting with it rather than just weaving it in. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's probably fine for most people. It probably is, but my brain instantly, the second I was shown that, they did that for me with silk, and it was just as easy because like someone was looking around for scissors, and no one had any, and they're like, just tie a knot in it, and I'm like sitting there thinking, what? And then I know, oh yeah, and they just tied a knot in it and just pulled it, and it was like silk. And we all know how strong silk is. It'll just rip your skin apart before it'll break. But yeah, I was just blown away. And so, yeah, I just, from then on, I'm like, wow. Like Frances. So yeah, with cotton, I tend to, and silk as well, actually, I tend to weave in a long section of weaving in so that if it does start weaving out, I've got time to see it before it gets to a point where it affects the stitches and I can weave it back in again. So yeah. You know, so when I see people cutting off like their yarn and they're leaving like these little tiny tails, I'm like, what are you going to do with that? Like, wow. Sound to me then, just like Abby had pulled out an ironing board. What was that noise? Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. It was the step ladder. Abby's putting the step ladder away. I was just like, wait, has Abby put the ironing board out? Like, what? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, look at this. I did. I went too far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one too many rounds. Off we go. Actually, what we want to do is we want to weigh it now and then weigh it again because we need to know how much yarn we're using for that 6th round, right? All right, so let me just pull this all the way out. There we go. Power on. $12.2. It's just jumping around. Is it the fan? $12.38. All right, let's do a round 6 and we'll weigh that. What's the time? Yeah. Our monthly craft. Kelly says our monthly craft catch up at Beanley Tavern might be willing to help weaving ends. They will, but I'm not going to be there this week. Or not this week, but next time because I'm going away for a family wedding, and so I'm just like, oh, engagement party. Sorry. And so yeah, so I'm not gonna be around, unfortunately. And then I've got to double check the week after because the month after because I've got this weird feeling I'm away on a holiday. So I'll have. Abby's like, without me. Every time we talk about this holiday that my husband and I are going on, Abby just goes, without me. You guys planned it without me. And we're like, yeah, we need you to feed the pets, man. We need you to house sit. You'll be fine. I know I'll be fine, but like, you could have planned me into it. She's like, I know I'll be fine, but tell me you're going on holiday. That just goes, oh, I hope you can feed the pets on this week. Mum and I are going on holiday. So much bitterness. It's hilarious. Hey, Abby. Samantha said that a friend of hers described a spinning group as a few funerals away from a good group. Abby says that's great. I'm going to use that. laughing. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible, Muriel. No, I'm still live, Abs. I'm still live. Samantha's laughing. Francis is laughing. Um, she stole my Mandalorian shirt. Dang it. She doesn't even like the Mandalorian. Do you know why she steals these shirts? Because they're my favorites. That's why. Kelly says it doesn't need to be this time or next, just any time. It's been years as a whip. We could help you make progress. Oh, I will bring it. I will bring some squares and I will bring it because you're right. I know you would help. And I have 11, like I have a whole thing of weaving in needles. So, yeah, because I think that's what's, I mean, one big part is finding somewhere to lay it all out to put the pieces in order, but I could technically do it on my bed. I would have to shut the door so the dogs and the cats and you know, the people, I'd need to lock the door as well, so the people as well, so I'd actually get time to lay it out and check it. And you guys know the drill with a big piece project like that. You need space and time. So, excuse me. But yeah, just one of those things. I'm really curious to find out how much this row 6 uses, because I'll need at least that much times 88 squares to do the joins and the borders. And then I can add that into my little notes of things here. Because, like, I'm tempted just to buy a couple of balls and keep going, because it's like $13 a ball Australian, which is really, really expensive for me, for yarn. I mean, I know that there's more out there, and I know I spend more on a skein of beautiful hand-dyed sock yarn, but, you know, for a blanket where you need like a billion balls, it works out to be quite expensive. Anyway, but then I've had this sort of like, what if, because, you know, it's happened how many times now, what if I just buy the couple of balls? Oh, you've just realized I'm crocheting from the yeah, I'm frogging it as I go. Yeah. But yeah, so what if I buy a couple of balls and then all of a sudden it's discontinued for whatever reason? Like, I mean, the chances are low. The Karen Beach glass is very popular, but it's not impossible. Alrighty. Just fold this up so it can go on the scales. Give it just a little bit of tail. So it is now 17.6. Oh, 0.16, I should say. A calculator. So it is 17.16 minus 12.38. So 4.78 grams times 88. 420 grams. Well, I'm glad I checked that, because I was thinking 2 to 3 balls should be fine, and I need more like 4 to 5 balls just for the joining. Maybe I should do not the round 6. Yeah, I'm thinking, because I don't want to buy that many, like, you know, I'm already having to buy an extra 3 balls for the blanket. I don't want to have to buy an additional 5 balls for the bordering. I don't technically need the extra space. The widths and stuff that I've measured was all off a 5 like the 5 rounds, with just a bit of, like, you know, a little, like a centimeter space between the two. So any kind of flat braid join could do that. You could buy Bendigo Woolen Mills as a border. I don't know what I would get though. Bendigo's not as thick as this. Even the 10-ply cotton is not as thick as this stuff. Because you're right, it would be a cheaper option, and I'm sure that, you know, I could buy it in this Arctic. But yeah, the 10-ply cotton is not as thick. Let me just yeah. I don't know. But yeah, maybe a different border. That's totally an option. What did I do with my? There it is. There. Totally an option. Different border. I don't know. I don't want to just join the squares together with like the running ridge. I don't know what that's called. Like this. I mean, I like that, but I think I would like a little bit of flexibility between the squares. So even just. I don't know. We've got options. We've got options. I just like an option that wasn't 5 more balls at $13 a ball. Where's my ends? Oh, I threw my yarn buff into my rubbish pile with those scissors. They're in the rubbish pile. They're going to go in the bin. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, has anyone bought the Bendigo 10-ply cotton anytime recently? Because that's the other thing. This is a cotton wool blend. This is not cotton wool, cotton acrylic blend. So maybe the Peyton's cotton blend might be a better option. It depends if we can get a color that'll do the trick. I'd have to have a look. I've got some cotton blend in grey. I don't think I'd want it in grey. Are you coming to Caffeinated Crafters tonight, Kelly? At IKEA? I didn't think you were. I definitely want to buy the extra 3 balls of this. I want to run that a little bit more. Yeah, I'm normally, like, when it comes to the Bendigo yarns, I tend to be a 4-ply girl as well. So, I haven't bought any of the 10-ply cotton recently. No, that's all right. I'll find something. I'll find something. I'm not IKEA because the traffic will be dodgy. Yeah, I get that. Big time. Alrighty, next square done. Not yet. I'll be done in a second. There we go. And for those of you that don't know what I'm doing over here, I'll bring it over temporarily. We're testing out something called dry blocking that I've never heard of, where you just put your squares in your blocking thing and you just leave them there. There we go, Kelly. I squashed them all down because we're not wetting it. We don't need the airspace between them. So this is where I'm going to store my squares. Basically, I'm going to think of it as storage. I'm going to store my squares here. While I make them, and it'll just even them out a little bit, because usually I do block the squares and then join the squares. Like I'll you know, wet block the squares or steam block the squares and then I'll join them. So yeah, so I'm just using the yarn as I go, and so if it does a crazy color change at an odd point, like we've got some different ones here. Some of them are quite solid, but like this one here, that's a bit more of a crazy color change thing going on. So, but yeah, it's I'm just going with it and trying not to be all like, oh, they're in the wrong places. And because my blocking board can stand up, it's not taking up any particular room. So, on Wool and Wishes podcast last night, they showed 2 different methods to join granny squares. There was a nice one, which was essentially an extra row. Yeah, that's one that I've done. And that was the one I was thinking of doing, which is because you essentially just do an extra round. But that one's going to use up too much yarn. So I'm trying to find something a bit more low profile, a bit more open, or I would prefer not to just butt them up and do the slipping between the 2 things. And I don't want to sew them together. I'd have to stab myself in the face. But I'll come up with something, because like that's why I was working out that yarn. But essentially, getting an idea of how much an extra round of yarn would be is basically going to be another 5 balls of yarn to do that join on the number of squares I want to do. And at $13 a ball, I don't want to spend that, because this was supposed to be using up a bag of scraps. Just turned out there wasn't quite enough scraps, because I need an extra 3 balls just to get it to the size I want it. That's before any joining. So, yeah. I'm like, oh man, I'll just use up some scraps. Actually, the plan was never a plan. It was just like, I just need to crochet something. And something simple. And that's how it started. And then I made a square. I'm like, oh, that looks nice. And then I made another square, and then I made another square, and then I made another square. And oh my gosh, now I've got 16 squares out of 88 done. So on that note, everybody, I am going to run away. Abby is trying to talk to me about something, and it is past our time. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you back here on Saturday, my time, or Friday evening, your time, for our productivity stream for this week. Otherwise, I will see you back here next Thursday, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful, wonderful week, and that you just make something and you craft and have a good time. Bye now.